Hi everyone and welcome to Unit Review. We're your hosts, Jack
and Dan.
Today we're going to be talking about the lovely-ish poo Ghost Ark of
It's
the
the worst
Necron
transport
army.
in the game, Jack.
It certainly is.
It's terrible.
It really is. It really is. It's one of two transports, apart from the Night Scythe, which is considerably better.
Yeah.
But this one, I think you said, you described it very good. The rib cage of the Necrons.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. It's like a floating rib cage. It looms really large in Necron lore. It's got a really dark history in the lore.
It does.
But there's just no place for it on the tabletop at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Which is very sad, but we will stay with us. We'll explain why. There is evidence behind this.
Yeah. We're not just ranting.
No.
We're ranting with a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, Dan, do you want to start off with the stat block?
Yeah, stat block, movement 10. It's got toughness of 9, a 3-up save, 14 wounds, leadership of 7, OC 3, and it's got a 4-up invuln save. So on paper, that's not bad, is it?
If you didn't know that was a transport, you think that's not too bad.
I mean,
the
it's
stat
tough.
block itself is good.
It's tough.
Tough. It's got good movement and good saves.
Yes.
So quite good. But this is kind of where it falls down. So the war gear that comes with it. So it has the Gauss Flare array. So this is a shooting weapon. It has a 24-inch range, 5 attacks, hitting on freeze, strength 4, 0 AP, and 1 damage. And it's also equipped with the lethal hits and rapid fire 5. So within 12, you're getting 10 shots off.
Yes, and it's got 2 of these, hasn't it?
It does.
Yes.
It does.
So it is a lot of shots, but AP 0,
not good in this matter. Not good. Good for horde, maybe small ones, but again, overall not good.
What about melee? Is it any good in melee?
Certainly not. Certainly not. So the melee side of thing, it has armored bulk. So again, this is a melee weapon. It's got 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, strength 6, no AP, and 1 damage.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, wow. Not very good. But can it be saved by the abilities and the transport?
No, Jack.
Set you up to just knock us down. Yes, not very good, is it?
No, it's got, as a vehicle, it's got Deadly Demise D3, which is, fairly straightforward. It's got reanimation protocols, which is good. You're getting your wounds back in your command phase. And this is an interesting ability. It's got Repair Barge. So once per turn, just after an enemy unit is finished making its attacks, you can target one or more friendly Necron Warriors units within 3 inches of this model that lost wounds as a result of those attacks. And then the Ghost Ark can activate that warrior unit's reanimation protocols out of sequence. So you imagine in a shooting or melee, if this is nearby, it's got to be within 3, so it's got to be very nearby. But you can trigger reanimation after that. It's basically like using the Strat in Awakened Dynasty, but for free, isn't it?
Correct.
So that's decent.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's just like the reanimation, D3 wounds. So I mean, if I lost 2 models here, I can then reanimate it, maybe get 1 or 2 back.
It's not as we'll come on to. It's good, but it's not enough of a reason to justify bringing a barge, is it?
Correct, exactly. And I mean, speaking about how this is a transport, it obviously has the transport ability as well.
Yes, this is where we're getting into it, yeah.
It's a bit sucky. So this model is restricted by what it can take. And it's for some reason, it's restricted itself just to the Necron warrior. So you're only able to bring 10 warriors to this, along with 1 infantry Necron character.
Yeah, and that's why, as you said before, contrast that with the Night Scythe. It's very restrictive, isn't it?
It's so restrictive, and it just means that like in the meta currently, people aren't bringing these; they're bringing the mortals, and you can't even put immortals in this squad. And I don't know why they've done it, but obviously it's a fantastic model. But they've put 10 warriors in there, and I think they've got it in the head where it's like, well, there's 10 warriors in that barge. It can only possibly bring 10, but we know the Necron lore, they use a lot of different abilities to bring stuff down.
Yeah.
So,
you've obviously got all your hyperphasion and stuff. I mean, it's 40k to space magic, isn't it? So,
exactly.
And also, we'll talk about this later, but there are other vehicles with much smaller dimensions that can fit a lot more bigger people in them, which is irritating.
It certainly is,
You can tell I'm irritated. But yeah, so this is where it starts to fall down. I mean, warriors aren't very fashionable, but only being able to take them in blobs of 10 anyway,
it's just not good.
It's not good.
No, not at all. Well, moving on then from that, because we do want to write about that later. Keywords, Dan.
Yeah, so it's got vehicle, it's got fly, so watch out for that if your opponent's got anti-fly. It's obviously transport, dedicated transport, and a Ghost Ark, so nothing to worry about there at all, just standard stuff.
It definitely is, now, the unit composition side of things, again, it is just the one model by itself, and this model costs 125 points.
Yeah, ain't cheap.
It's not cheap. For what it actually does, there's other things out there that do better.
Yeah.
That's the kicker in this one. So I think that's its kind of stats all over with.
Yes.
So moving on to the stratagems then, Dan, you got any good stratagems you can recommend people?
There are technically stratagems that will work with it. Like in the Awakened Dynasty, like Sudden Storm, you can give its guns assault, but realistically, why would you bother?
Yeah.
But the only one that might be of interest if you are taking this is obviously the new Tank Shock.
Yes, correct.
So your Tank Shocking now is based on toughness instead of strength. So it was strength 6, but it's toughness 9.
There you go.
So toughness 9 is all of a sudden strength 6 Tank Shock.
So an extra 3 dice, right?
Yeah.
On top of that.
But and it could be an extra 5 because strength 6, there's not unless you're going into infantry, you're not going to be picking up the extra 2 dice for having the higher strength than the opponent's toughness.
Got you.
So this way you're getting strength at T9, you're getting your 9 dice and then probably the bonus 2 for having a higher toughness than your opponent. So.
That's true. For me, I mean, that's a good stratagem. For me, I just don't want to recommend anyone using any others because I just simply feel like for that CP usage, you may as well use the CP on other units that would benefit their unit more than this one.
100%. You're going to get a better return on your CP investment with other units. Yeah.
So don't recommend any other stratagems in this one, which is unfortunate. So we'll move on to how best to play the unit. So again, bit of a mixed bag on this one, isn't it?
Because this is basically this next segment is about a minute and a half of us clutching at straws,
gasping for something. Like,
something's there.
And I think we reached out. Was it later on? Did we reach out to a few people as well? But
yes, we did. Yes, we opened this up to the Necron community as usual, and who entirely agreed with us. Unfortunately, we're hoping that somebody would come back with some genius ways that we're missing.
Some unreal play.
Everyone just went, no, it's rubbish.
Literally people come back and be like, yeah, this is trash. Don't use it. Don't use it.
This is the worst transport in the game. Somebody said.
Which they are right. Everyone's right.
Yes.
But we have a few little ways you can play it.
Yeah, if you're a contrarian and you're desperate to run an off-meta unit, I mean, let's start with the first one, which we've titled Non-Shell Pass, which is basically using it to move block, particularly against factions that favour troops in transports like orcs. You can get in up the board, block those, particularly on the new Pariah Nexus terrain pack. Some of those are really terrain dense, so if you can block those avenues off to avoid those transports being able to get up the field, that's going to slow the orcs down. You can pick them off. That's great.
I think that's a really good idea, to be fair. Considering for what the unit does, I think that's its best element. Yeah. It's tough. It's got good movement. It's got a very awkward base. That's where it shines. And again, it's got a little bit of shooting, not anything to shout home about, but I think that what you've mentioned there is probably one of the best ways of playing it. Yeah. Blocking people off, for sure. The next one we've got is kind of like a distraction con effects. Yeah. So again, we've already mentioned before, it's T9, 14 wounds, 4 up invuln save. The reanimation protocols, it's just very resilient.
Yes.
It's there.
Super resilient,
even if it takes a few wounds before it gets to where it needs to be, it's already bringing that all those wounds back.
So what you need to do at the start of the game is talk your opponent, when you're talking your opponent through your army, and say, "Oh, these are class. You want to watch out for these."
Careful! Scary. It's like psych them out, isn't it? Just like mind games.
Get them to focus their anti-tank on there. Spike your 4 up invuns, and the rest of your army's fine.
Maybe that was a little tip. Be like, just psych your opponent out. Be like, oh, these guys
just
really big, really scary guys. On the tabletop, no, lore wise, really scary. But yes, that's the convex distraction.
Yeah, the next one is Necron A&E. They're basically like a mobile warrior hospital. Unfortunately, it's tied just to warriors, which are off meta at the moment. But if you are running warriors, so one way to do it, if you don't want to run, the jury's out on this one, right? So the wording says in the transport says it can take 10 Necron warriors and 1 infantry character.
Yes.
But the way a lot of Necron players are using it is just putting an infantry character in there. Typically a Hexmark Destroyer, because then they can get out and do other things. Yeah. But then if you have a blob of 20, that means you can then take a blob of 20 warriors because you don't need to put 10 in the transport. And that it's just got better synergies with 20 warriors. 20 warriors are more durable. You're going to have leaders in there that are impacting the whole unit, and then this can then repair that unit. So you can give it, if you can get a reanimator in there as well, you're looking at making those warriors a bit more tanky. Yeah. Personally, I just think it's an overinvestment in points. But it is.
You start like the Warriors, the HQ, the Ghost Ark, and then the reanimator.
You're looking at a lot of points.
It adds up. For then what? So what's that cluster for? Is that cluster only for 10 warriors?
Yeah, for 20. I mean,
that's the balance doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And it's a lot of points investment to hold one mid-board objective, which is basically what you're trying to do with that. Yeah, there's other ways to do it.
Better units for that, tougher units for that as well. No, very good. I think the next one we've got the Purge Vermin.
Purge the Vermin.
Get rid of them.
Yes.
Use the Gauss Flayers to basically clear the hordes and chaff units. Not great strength or AP, but again, just getting through them.
Yeah, it's straightforward 0 AP. You're getting some lethal hits, but it's 0 AP is really where it really hurts. As you hit the nail on the head before. And this meta, you need need some AP, particularly the amount of cover that everybody's getting.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Not good. Next one.
Yeah,
I thought you'd like this little title one.
Blow the load and go. Blow and go. With such a big base, you can move it up the board, drop your load, and then retreat to zone out.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
It's a big, awkward model.
Yeah.
It's quite long, so holding your backfield,
Yeah.
it's got that long stretch.
Yeah.
So you feel like you can kind of zone out when he deep strikes later on.
Yeah.
Especially turn 2, move it up turn 1, drop off your load, blow it, move back. Got the movement in there. You're 10 going to possibly 6 with the advance.
Yes.
You could probably get up there and back.
That's a good idea. And with the twin Gauss Flare array, you've actually got some Overwatch threat depending on what your opponent drops in there.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Definitely.
I'm still not taking it.
No. It's like all of that's like 2-3 minutes we'll like us be like, oh, this is how to play it. Yeah. We don't recommend it. It's not on our list.
Yeah. So what about fighting against this unit?
Honestly, just ignore it. Personally, just
ghost it.
Ghost it. Yes, absolutely.
Say no pun intended, but that's totally my best pun today. So I'm going with that one.
Respect it. I gotta like it. But yeah, honestly, just ignore it. I mean, like, unless you were really worried for the Warriors dropping out and maybe clearing up a backfield or jumping on an objective, it's not really there to do much. You'll be able to. And to be fair, I know it's got the invuln save of 4+, so it is quite tough. But if you bring it down, you could still probably take this down.
You can probably still pop it, unless you get really unlucky. But target priority-wise, if your opponent's got 1 or 2 of these, and then say Doomsday Arcs or Doomstalkers or Catan, those are what
those are
the
Catan and the Doomsday Arcs.
This isn't going to hurt you.
No,
it might enable your opponent to score some early points, but after that, it's not going to hurt you.
Nah, not at all.
Good.
I think there's no way of kind of getting rid of it as well. The Immortal Wounds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it can be hard to shift with anti-tank because it does have that 4-up invuln.
Yeah.
But anything with Dev Wounds or Mortal Wounds is going to be a good
just
shout.
Get straight through it, I mean, obviously free up save normally, but normally those just get straight through it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Really good. Very nice. Well, that's the best ways to fight against it. Do we use this unit then?
Yeah, what do you think, viewers?
Yeah. The answers will be on screen then. For me, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such an investment, and like the combo choices that are around are so limited. I just don't see the value of spending 125 points on this, and then the reanimator being another 90 or 100 points, along with a HQ being another 60 points, depending on which cryptech or HQ you bring, to buff a unit of 100 points.
Yeah,
that just doesn't make sense.
And we must be the only faction in the game where we have an aircraft that is a better transport than your actual transport.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird, but the Night Side has actually got some play at the moment.
It will obviously someone recommended a good way of playing it, and I started using it where you obviously move them up the field, you drop out, you shoot, and then the Night Side has an ability to bring them back in. Amazing stratagem just to move on the board and just get some shots off. So highly recommend that. I highly recommend not this.
I mean, Warriors in blobs of 10 make very little sense, and because if you're investing in leaders for your battle line units, you want to optimize that so you max your squads out. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Not at all. I love the rant that you were going on about before about the Rhino that you were saying.
Well, I mean, look, we haven't got one for because weirdly there's very little. There's virtually no Space Marines in our bubble meta in our friend group.
Correct.
So I haven't got one to demonstrate. But a Rhino is probably about half the size of this, and its transport capacity is 12 Space Marines, whereas a Ghost Ark, which is twice the size of a Rhino, can only take 10.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense. Not at all.
So GW increase its capacity to 22, so it can have 20 warriors, 2 characters. That would be awesome. Yeah, and it's gonna see some play.
Now, why 22? Those people might think, why 22? Why 21?
Well, obviously, because we can, particularly with warriors, you're wanting to whack an overlord in there or a similar character, noble character, and a cryptech character to get that double buff going.
Yeah. I mean, even on top of that, you could go for 24, not being spicy, but that's because of the crypto thralls.
Oh, you could put the crypto thralls in there.
We could squeeze them in, but again, is that us being too greedy now, Dan?
One step at a time.
One step at a time, one little change at a time.
What'll happen is they'll just increase it to 13, so you can just take the crypto thralls and not anything else.
And then they'll colored thumbs up from there and be like, well done.
I just don't get it. Like, how obnoxious do they think it's going to be if you can move 20 warriors up the board in one of these?
Yeah.
I can't see it being that much of a problem for the meta.
And I mean, looking at this, to me, there is no top there. You could say this is open topped.
Well, I'm pretty sure it used to be open top. It's got no firing deck, has it?
No firing deck.
Well,
so,
again, a Rhino has a closed top,
Yeah.
but it has a firing deck. You can get something like 6 guys can pop
like
out
literally
the top
no
of that.
windows.
Yeah.
There's no way out
No.
apart from the door at the
No.
back, and it's like, oh yeah, firing deck. It's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit
So yeah, they've done us dirty, really.
They have.
Um,
So yeah, we don't. So it's safe to say we definitely don't recommend playing it.
I think it definitely in the next pass. I mean, I think perhaps one of the reasons they haven't looked at it is Necrons have been reasonably strong in the meta.
Yeah.
So your bottom unit, the unplayed units
Yeah.
aren't going to get a lot of attention. They're going to be focusing on how do we stop them being the top units being too overpowered, aren't they?
Yeah,
which I can understand.
Yeah,
but
for
at
sure.
some point in this edition, please address this because it was no good in the last edition either. It needs fixing, and really want to see it on the table.
For such a lovely model.
Lovely
We want
model.
it on the field.
These are not lore videos, but go and if you don't know the lore about Ghost Ark, go and check it out because it is really dark.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's dark. It's grim dark.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Good.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, thank you again to everybody that contributed when we put this out to the Necron community. You all said the same things as us, but we appreciate the feedback, and we'll put your names on the screen at the end here. And if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Really helping the channel grow at the moment, so we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much.